What is good in the hood, citizens of the universe? My name is Gaia, and welcome back to my channel. In my last video, I redesigned Neith from SMITE to some interesting feedback, ranging from very helpful to typical Reddit. However, despite the reception, I promised a part 2, and after some time, it's finally here. In this part 2, I'll be redesigning her respective Tier 2 and Tier 3 skins, World Weaver and Misdiagnosis. Now some of you, or none of you, may be asking, Gaia, what's a tier skin? Well, in SMITE, skins have a level of complexity. They can range from 5 tiers, 1 being the default god themselves, 2s are like typical skins in SMITE. Just the new outfit, but the same voice pack and the same animations. Tier 3s are a different voice pack and different animations to go with it. Tier 4s have special animations and visual effects to go with the skin, and 5 being the most complex of them all, with changing forms every few levels. They were the rarest skin to get in SMITE initially, as if you didn't get them within a certain time frame, they would be locked away forever. Thankfully, Hi-Rez has changed that, as I honestly thought it was bad for business. That's just me, I just wouldn't lock something away and prevent anyone from spending their money on it. But what matters is that World Weaver is a Tier 2 and Misdiagnosis is a Tier 3 skin. About the skins themselves, I actually like World Weaver a lot. It's clear that Hi-Rez was going for as many textiles and as many pieces of jewelry as possible to give Neith this very royal look to her. My only issue is that it's a bit frumpy in some places, and I don't like some of the accessories. Back in the day, Hi-Rez had this tendency to just take some parts of the god's initial design and make them bigger. And it works for some gods, but not for others, I feel. I just want to clean up the look a little bit and make it more readable on the battlefield. As for Misdiagnosis, I have my opinions. Just like World Weaver, it is a product of its time, so I can't be too hard on Hi-Rez. But it's very clear it's dated. When I think sexy nurse costume, I usually think of a one-piece, a dress, rather than a two-piece. However, I do like what they were going for. It's something different. I just think that the pleats in the skirt make it look more like a cheerleader skirt rather than a nurse's skirt. I do not think the arm cast is necessary. It's probably due to rigging or like the original model of Neith having that arm guard, so they had to give a similar shape on there. The shoes are a bit strange. It might be just the shape of the model's feet because it looks so small. But I just don't like it. It just doesn't look that pleasing to me. I do not think a nurse's hat and a head mirror are both necessary on her head. It just clutters the look. And the wig, we don't have to talk about the wig. I don't want to talk about the wig. Let's talk about something else. Essentially, I just think she needs done up. She needs a little updating. That's all. But that's enough talking. Let's get to redesigning. Okay, as I stated in my earlier analysis, I wanted to essentially just take a few parts away from the design that I did not like, but enhance the parts that I did like. For instance, the two-piece situation, I wanted to enhance that a bit more by making the, what would I call it? The straps? The parts that keep it in place, I wanted to give it some fun shaping to draw the eye in. For the skirt, I at first what I thought were like golden scales used are actually, I believe, inspired by leather plates that were used as armor back in ancient Egyptian times. And I thought that was very cool that Hyras did that, so I wanted to, keep that. I struggled a lot with the shoes. I just couldn't quite figure out what to do with them. For some reason, I did not want to reuse the Apophis shoe. I wanted to do something a bit different. So I went with shin guards and repeat the feather pattern that you see on her top on those ankle guards. What I did with her jewelry, I always had the idea of a snake wrapping around her neck for the necklace because I just thought that would be really cool to do. And then I thought, hey, why don't I do it for like the other parts as well? I had it for her top and bottom, like snakes wrapping around, and I did it for her circlet as well. Now, some of you may be saying, Gaia, this is a lot of snake, but I actually got this from a video I watched by Overly Sarcastic Productions, where she talked about the parts of the underworld that Ra travels through, and they have a lot of snakes in that video. I recommend watching it. Obviously after mine. For the top, those red balls that you see, I think those are beads, and they're probably inspired by the beaded dress that women used to wear in ancient Egyptian times. So I actually just wanted to use that design directly instead. I used it for a top, like I actually used parts that were on the top for the top, and for the bottom I put on the skirt. I had actually initially tried going for a dress, seeing to try to replicate it, but it just did not come out right for the outfit, so the two-piece stayed. The circlet was rather hard to figure out what to do with. I looked up like Egyptian headdresses and I could not figure out what those feather-like things that were on Neith's head. I asked the Discord, they didn't quite know what those were either. And I come to find out, I did a closer look at Neith's model and they're not even attached to the headdress, so I don't know what they're for. And so, yeah, it was a bit of a struggle to figure out what to do with the headdress. And we're gonna stop the footage right here. Okay, so here's the thing. I finished this, right? I finished recording and everything, looked at it with some fresh eyes like the next day, and went, I don't like this, like at all, and felt it needed some changes. So I went and did some edits after the fact, but I'll be showing you the finished product right here, right now. As you can see, I changed the shape of the hair. I kept the bob. The bob was always going to be short to keep the neck open so you could see the jewelry. I gave the circlet 2 tassels on the side to add some extra pizzazz. I also gave it a back piece, which I will show the sketch for right now. I changed the style of her tattoos. They are inspired by a little Egyptian, a mini statue. I wouldn't call it a figurine, a little statue that I found online that had like these dots that were supposed to represent tattoo markings. So I tried to replicate that. I gave a scale pattern to her shoes and gemmed heels as well. I changed the style of the skirt. I don't know, I just didn't like the patterns on it. So I instead replaced that with the beadwork. so there's some cohesion on the top and bottom, and made those reddish green to try to replace the green and blue that was taken away. But I like this version overall. I like this a lot more. So here's the thing. I forgot to hit record. The thing is, I take forever to think of a pose for a piece, and I didn't want y'all seeing all that. That would just waste time. So I thought, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to, when I figure out what pose I want, and when I'm in the process where I'm happy with it, I'm gonna start recording. And completely forgot to do that. So we're just gonna show the finished product right here and right now. And I guess I'll talk about what I did do during that process that I can't show. So my original idea was to go for a dress, a one piece, as I just think it fits more of the nurse theme, and then go for a bob for her hairstyle. As you could see, I did not go that direction because Hi-Rez beat me to it. And not wanting to look like a copycat, I realized I'm just gonna stick with the two-piece version that they had initially done. I changed her skirt into a pencil skirt because I think pencil skirts are quite sexy. I opened up her top a little more so the bra is more visible. I gave her a heart motif as a theme, gave her heart cutouts to show more skin on the skirt, as well as lace-ups on the sides because I think that is sexy as well. Gave her hearts on her collar, gave her a heart-shaped choker, and heart-shaped earrings. For the bra, the choker, and the stockings, I gave them a lacy pattern. I changed the stockings to a darker color. I think it complements her skin better. I made the shoes red rather than white. Has a nice little pop. Gave her gloves to replace the arm cast. Finally, for her hair, I wanted to initially do a Farrah Fawcett look, but that wasn't working. It was covering her face too much. So I kept the curls. I still wanted curls in that hair to give it more bounce and more life than the hair that Hi-Rez made. And I changed it to a more wine color with pink highlights to make them pop. I actually think a different name for this skin would be more fitting. Love Shot Neith. And for fun, I thought about playing with the colors a bit and giving Neith some recolors as well. I've seen recolored skins in League, like you pick the skin and then you can pick the color. And I think that would be a very fun idea instead of taking a skin and recoloring it later down the line for a season pass. But I thought that would just be very fun to do. I had a blast doing this. Tell me what color you guys like. I like the second one, the pink and white inverted colors. And I also like the dark brown colors. They just look really good on her. All right, is that everything? I think that's everything. Let me check the notes. All right, intro, analysis, speed paint, I guess. Pictures, and I think, wait, hold up. I have one more clip in here. Because I am a perfectionist, or a lunatic, whichever one you like to use, I decided to go back and redo my initial redesign for Neith. It's been essentially a year and I've improved quite a bit with my art, and I think I could do a much better job this go round. Also, I took one commenter's words to heart when they said that they feel a lot of artists these days are very nervous to go outside the box out of fear of offending anyone. And I wholeheartedly agree. I think I got too scared to go for details because I do want to reuse these designs for future works, and I was scared of doing a lot of design detailing, but also I think I was just too scared to go for a bit of sexy in it. I felt that maybe the outfit initially was over sexualized, so I may have overcorrected. Actually, not may have. I think I overcorrected. I had an idea, but the execution was not quite there. So for this go round, I took another commenter's critique. They said that the outfit felt a bit too close to Isette rather than Neith. And I thought, okay, what can I do to keep it Neith? And I thought, well, the two-piece set, ironically. So instead, I made her shorts a lot longer. I elongated them to go to her midriff. And I kept the shawl because I wanted the shawl to stay. I liked the idea with the shawl, but I gave it a lot more details to make it more elegant and not basic looking. So the shawl will have like flats. It'll come in parts that'll be divided. So you'll still see like pieces of her arm, but the shawl will still be there. As for her bottoms, I wanted to keep the design of my first attempt kind of the same with the little centerpiece, but I made it lower because it's based off of a crotch guard. I find it very funny to say. It's essentially, I call it the coochie belt. Sometimes you don't need a reason. Sometimes you just want to be goofy. For colors, I went for a red shawl to tie back into her original depiction where she had the red dress on, because I think that would be a really cool callback, as well as it would help her stand out amongst the other goddesses. Tan seems to be like the overall central color amongst them in the Pantheon, but I think red just helps bring out Neith a little more. She does seem like the de facto leader. She is depicted as the mediator amongst the Pantheon, and she, helped create humanity, essentially. So, as I've said in my first video, she is every woman. Also, the shawl matches her crown, which is quite lovely, don't you think? For her tattoos, I combined the original design and the design that I had. I had given her the original patterns from her default look, but also kept the written words all over her body element. But what I did is I made those words extremely faint and made the words within the patterns much more prominent. And if she was to, do her ultimate or use her powers in any way, say it would glow. I think that would be a very cool element. I really couldn't go for the tali, the Egyptian embroidery that I mentioned in my previous video, because it would have been too busy on her top and you wouldn't be able to see her tattoos under there. So I opted to just do the little divots on the trims this time. And here's the final product, and I am much happier with this attempt than my first one. I think I did much better this time. It's better executed. The red looks very lovely on Neith, and it pops compared to the shawl slash dress I did. I think the tattoos are a lot sleeker, much cleaner too. And I'm happy I did more greens in the jewelry rather than mostly turquoise. I think that just stands out a lot more for Neith. Less is more, as they say. And obviously, I have to show her in some recolors too. I did a classic Neith color. This is based off of her SMITE 1 colors. And I did mischievous as well. I tried to go for white skin again, and it just did not look right. So the tan skin stayed. I instead changed the colors of her hair to a pale pink. I think that's just very fun. And lastly, her masteries. I went for, the obvious golden and legendary, blue, gold, black, gold. But for diamond, instead of the teal or dark blue, as some of y'all old SMITE veterans will know, I did a black diamond pattern instead, with hints of that teal in there to give it some shimmer, as I think that's a much better color combo, and it's much more cohesive to the evolution. And one thing I will give Hi-Rez, they said, I don't remember which patch it was, but they said that doing the mastery skins were not easy. They couldn't just, change the colors and bada bing, bada boom, they were done. It was hard for me to do this. I had to, change the lights and everything. It was not easy. And adding the sparkle effects for the diamond was quite tedious because I didn't want too much, but I didn't want too little either, And that is everything this time. I'd like to thank you all for watching till the end of the video. Tell me what you think of the designs I made. Tell me what you think of Neith's new design for SMITE 2, actually. I'd like to know that too. And some other gods designs as well. If you enjoyed this video, like it. If you didn't, you're a hater. If you want to see more from me, subscribe. I swear I will try to be more consistent. And stay creative out there, folks. It feeds the soul, after all.